evening, dear Elevate. Good evening once more. Okay, I'll just go straight into our topic of today, which is talking about split happens. We are going to be talking about split happens. So in our last class, we're talking about when our why goes fuzzy, when we drift away from purpose or when our why goes blurred. So today we are going to be talking about split happens. When we talk about split, what do we understand by the word split? So split is companies always start with a very clear vision and a clear sense of purpose and passion. But over time, this passion and purpose disconnects from the company's actions, meaning what? Split happens when our why gets disconnected from our how, or our how gets disconnected from our why. So Simon Sinek makes us to understand that split occurs when a company's purpose and passion, that is the why, becomes separated from its how. The how is the actions and the decisions of the company. So when the why is no longer serving the purpose for which it was created, begin to see that it begins to separate from the actions and the decisions of the company. So split also happens because companies begin to focus too much on their what, meaning what the original purpose for which they started a company could be started. They begin to drift away from the original purpose. The company begins to focus too much on the what, that's its tangible products and services, than the why the company had to start in itself. And so as a result of that, the company becomes disconnected. Yeah, I'm still trying to make us to understand the meaning of that split. Companies drift away from their original purpose. For example, you create an organization to cater for the needs of the vulnerable, and maybe you have donors, you have people who support the cause, but along the line, you see maybe so much financial aid can come in, and you see that you start drifting away from the original purpose of supporting the vulnerable, and maybe you want to take the money to start maybe purchasing a car for yourself in the name of purchasing car for the company. That's already a split, that's already a situation of split happening in that company. So when split begins to happen, you see that you have drifted from the original purpose, the original why. That is a situation in where split can happen. And Simon Sinek tells us the consequences of split in an organization or a company. So when split takes place in an organization or in a company, or when split happens, we have some consequences that may occur, like a lack of direction. When split begins to happen because you have drifted from the original purpose, you see lack of direction begins to say of motivation to the workers, the people that we work with, because before setting up a company, many people usually go the extra mile to maybe recruit employees that see into the vision, see into the same purpose they have. And many people go in for some of these things are people that maybe they are usually so dissatisfied, maybe with a company that they used to work for, and they have to, see a reason. They have to look for a reason as to why they have to split to to get something and do it more better than where they used to be, or to do something on a personal line or personal. So they usually try to, in the process of recruiting employees, they recruit those people that connect, those people that try to understand the vision, the people that have they have a like mentality concerning the purpose as to why you want to do what you want to do. So most of these people, when they come in with you, and then the company starts to drift away from its original purpose, you see that most of these people are not motivated to continue working. So most of them, it comes to lack of motivation also, in the sense that some of these people will start just coming to work because they want to come. They just come because they have set goals that they want to achieve. They don't come, they no longer come to work because they really feel, or they really have that passion, the passion they used to have before. They don't have that passion as to come to work. They only just come because they want to fulfill some sort of engagement that they had. And you see that when it happens like that, there's also always a disconnection between the outside and the inside. Here, the golden circle of Simon Sinek comes in. The inside out, from the inside out, there's a disconnection from the employees and the customers. The employees, like the people you work with, and the people you're trying to serve. So when there is this discrepancies, you see that there's usually a disconnection starts to set in, and consequences come to that. It can lead to a split can happen. And then Simon Sinek suggests to us that with the above consequences, he suggests that staying focused on your why and ensuring that actions and decisions are aligned with underlying purpose is very essential. So Simon Sinek is telling us, is encouraging us not to always put at the back of our mind the reason as to why that thing came into play. And we should always try to revisit that why. We should not drift away from it. So he tries to make sure to make us understand that we should stay focused on our why and ensure that our actions and our decisions, that is our how, are aligned with our purpose. Meaning what? That our how should always be aligned with our why. We should not let our how overshadow our why. We should always fall back on our why. As we move forward, as the company grows, we should always try to move back to think of our why. So according to Simon Sinek, this chapter, he cites examples of companies that started small and grew over time. He cited examples of these companies like the Walmart, Microsoft, and Apple. For any organization, there's usually this start. They always start very small, whether it is a company that has become a multi-billion-dollar company today. They started from somewhere. They started with a why. They started with purpose. And most of these companies that have not failed, most of the businesses that have not failed, is because they always revisit their why. So whatever you do, whether it is a personal you are doing, whether it is a private business you are doing, make sure to stay in line with your why. Do not over concentrate on your how and forget, or do not over concentrate on your what and forget your what now should be the tangible products and services that you're offering. But you should always go back to why you had to take that lane. So whatsoever business you do, put at the back of your mind, what was the passion that drove you to do that thing? What was the reason that drove you to do that thing? So Simon Sinek, as he quoted these examples of Walmart, Microsoft, and Apple, he makes us to understand that nearly all companies started with an idea. no matter where they are multi-billion dollar companies, they started with an idea. So you see that in the beginning, our ideas are fueled by passion. There is that passion for us to do that thing. That is, our emotion causes us to do irrational things. There is a question there that just distracted me. Sorry. Surely be coming back to that.
No, it's not a question. Sorry. It's not a question. I just want to.
Okay, that's fine. I was just trying to. So as I was saying, in the beginning, most companies or most organizations, right? Yeah. You need to start a pastry line to do pastries, and at the end of the day, when you start with your passion and you start deviating, when you start deviating from your original why, a split may happen. So you see that most people that deviate and fall into their passion make a lot of sacrifices that are bigger than themselves. For example, some people may drop out of school to do business, and some people may also leave their very good jobs with very good salaries and benefits to try to get it done alone. That is driving a very good job on a very good salary to start wanting to do something by themselves, to want to do something alone, because they feel that maybe they could do better than where they were. Have this kind of zeal and you start something on your own, you have that passion to start, you have to stay in line. You have to visit your why. Why did you step that passion cannot beat? For passion to survive, without the how has a very high probability of failing, meaning that the two must move on. Forget about your your why. So these two, if you leave the how, there's a very high probability that your why or the business is going to fail. So the how and the why must be able to collaborate. They have to move in collaboration to make sure that you have that outcome, to make sure that split does not happen. The how and the why have to move together. So you should not depend so much on your how or your what and forget about your why. So Simon Sinek in this chapter, he uses an example of the Walmart and the Endicott entrepreneurs who used to think that who used to think and act and communicate from the inside out of the golden circle, from why to what. But as they grew more successful, their why now came first and they forgot about their why. They suffered a split and the why went fuzzy. So the Endicott entrepreneurs and Walmart, when their businesses began to grow, their businesses were growing and succeeding, they now started laying emphasis on their what and forgot their why. So when they forgot their why, their went fuzzy. Their why now went fuzzy, meaning that their why now went, that's the purpose for which they were doing the business they were doing. It went blurred. They were no longer concentrating on their why they had to be doing what they were doing. So with organizations that go through split, we will notice that people just come to work, like I earlier said, people just come to work. And people work just to meet goals. And then passion is gone. You know, that burning zeal, that burning desire as to why people used to come to work. People no longer have that burning desire. People just come to work for the sake of coming to work. I remember one time where I used to work at the bank. There was a moment where I no longer felt the environment. You know, I just went to work. When it's a day for me to go to work, you know, when morning comes, it's like, I don't know, it's like the world is coming to an end. I just go there that, oh, let me just go to take my salary at the end of the month. I did not really feel fulfilled. I was just working for the cash. I did not feel motivated. I did not feel fulfilled. You know, I just went there like that. Because the initial why that I went to that bank, you know, was drifting away. The initial why was not there, or the initial reason as to what I thought was the why was not there. So, you know, it went until as I no longer satisfied on the job, one morning I just got up and sent in my resignation letter. Oh yeah, I just sent in my resignation letter because I did not enjoy it. I did not have that passion to work. The environment was not, you know, I did not feel the environment. So there was a split at that point because I had to, you know, resign from that work. So for that reason, most people show up to work every day because they just want to show up. That passion is no longer there. So imagine that if people inside the company are feeling this way, what happens to the people outside? If you are in a company, you are feeling this way, you are not motivated to work, how do you face the people outside? How do you face the people outside? So you see that in most organizations that are suffering in this manner or suffer this type of split, you see that most of these things happen, and most of these organizations begin to use things like bonuses and even people be the way to hold people, which is not inspiring at all. You begin to find that most of these organizations, you know, people come to work, you know, they are being forced with motivation. They want to be motivating them to come to work, motivating people to work, and we entice people, give people bonuses and all the and all the like. People don't work because they feel the passion. People don't work because they see into the why of the company. But people are being given bonuses. People are being incentivized to work. So Simon Sinek quotes an example of what he calls the school bus test. The school bus test is simply a metaphor which says that if the founder of an organization were to be hit by a school bus, will the organization continue to thrive? So Simon is trying to tell us that whatever organization you have, or whatever passion you have, or whatever why you have for an organization you are running, you need to make the people around, the employees, to understand and move along with your why. They have to be in the why. They need to have the same passion with you. They have to see the passion and live in the passion. So as he uses the school bus test, he's asking that if a school bus should hit the founder of an organization, will the organization continue to thrive at the same pace without the founder at the helm? So this is a very big question for us. And we see that many people single-handedly lead organizations in a way that their departure may disrupt the company. Yes, departures may also disrupt vision. Departure may also disrupt passion. So Simon is asking us, for example, if a school bus hits the pioneer or the vision bearer of an organization, will the organization continue to thrive without him? So the challenge is not to cling to the leader. It is vision alive. So we must find effective ways to make sure that the passion does not die. We must find effective ways to make sure that the why remains consistent. We must find ways to make sure that our house and our what do not overpower the why. All of this must work hand in hand. That is what Simon is trying to tell us. And in essence, the school bus test, the school bus example, it encourages organizations to focus on building a strong and sustainable culture that goes beyond individual leadership. So when you're in an organization, it should not be a one-man show. It should not be a one-man show. This passion should be inculcated in all, if not most of the workers of the organization or the institution or in the business, so that in your absence, the why of that organization will not also die. It will stay alive. You need to leave a legacy of that organization. So Simon also says that it is not coincidence that most successful companies long for the early days or return to basics. That's why you see that most companies that have already succeeded, they always try to revisit their why. You must always go back. The why, that passion, that purpose. Hello?
Gwendolyn, please, can you mute? Thank you.
So most big organizations that are already striving and are succeeding, we come to see that they always revisit their why. And they always stay connected to their why. Once you start drifting away from that why, know that you have missed it. And this may lead to the failure of an organization or to the failure of a business. So most of these companies or organizations need to return to a time when what they did was in perfect parallel to why they did it. Companies like Walmart, Microsoft, and many others have all gone through a split. Because when they died or when they left the scene, the people that succeeded them did not fall back into the why. They did not really connect to the essential why that the founders of these organizations had put in place. So Simon gives us another subheading which says that what gets measured gets done. Simon tells us of a lady named in this book. Simon gives us an example of a lady named Harbridge who went for job hunting after school. She went for job hunting after school, and one day she saw an advert of a job on a post and a newspaper post, and she had to follow through, though she did not really understand what it was talking about, but she had to follow through, to get this job. So once she got the job, she discovered that it was a very big room, with very many telephone centers or telephone desks, call centers in one large hall. It was in such a way that everybody could hear everybody's discussion. And it was a debt collection company. These are people who make sure they collect debts from their debtors, So these people, when she was there, she described that these people, this one who called, and they were very aggressive on the phone. This one who called, and with all the noise and everything, they did not have particular ways to make their customers to make sure that they repay their debts. They did not even want to go to find out why many of these customers did not repay their debts on time. And you know, as she found herself in that environment, out of a sudden, she discovered that she started behaving like these people. And it did not sit well with her. So she sat and she saw that there could be a better way out to this. There could be a way as to why. And she also discovered that most of these people in this organization, they were being motivated. Like, the number of calls you make is the amount of bonuses they are going to give you. So these people were not working because they were there to collect debt, but they were working very hard because of the bonuses that they were looking at. They were looking at those bonuses. They were not looking at the why they were doing that thing. They had to do that job they were doing. They were focused on the bonuses. So this was just a way of enticing those employees. Maybe this is a company that was already at the verge of a split, and they had to look for ways to maintain these employees. So they were using bonuses. The number of calls you make is the more the calls you do, the more the bonus you had. So this lady, Harbridge, she found out that there should be another way out about this thing. So it dawned on her, and she had to stop this job, and she moved from there, and she created her own debt company. So when she built this company, she felt like what she was doing was completely out of her why, and she started a collections firm, believing that agents will have more success treating people with respect than just going for the bonuses. So this lady went ahead and she created her own company on her why, because she believed that everyone had a story as to why they have not paid their debts. So when she created this company, she came out with her own way of incentivizing her own employees. That is, which was based on how many thank you cards her agent sent to them. That she made her own call center for debt collection. And when these people, her employees, will call, her own bonuses to the employees came through the fact that it depended on how many thank you cards you're going to get from those people as feedback. So if you do not get many thank you cards, it means that maybe you're not doing your job well. So if you talk to somebody nicely, and you sought to ask their problem, according to the Harbridge, you sought to ask their problem as to why they did not pay their debts. Try to know the reasons why they were not able to pay their debts on time. You see that it is going to motivate them naturally. And most of them, though you are trying to ask them debts, they're going to tell you thank you. They tell you a thank you, even though you are asking them for a debt that they have not paid, but they give you a thank you. So this lady, she had to hire people who believed in her why. The more reason why, whenever we do what we do, we have to work with people who believe in our why. We have to work with people who believe in our why. You cannot have a why and then you go and take people who don't believe in this why to work with you. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. So her business succeeded because she knew her why, and also she found a way to measure the why. And so her company's growth was loud. She found a way to measure her why. So she succeeded because she understood her customers' base, because she understood that you have to take somebody from a very subtle way to make sure that you have those results. She understood her why. So Simon takes us again to another subtopic, which says, good succession keeps the why alive. Simon focuses here on the importance of succession. Planning in organizations, particularly maintaining the company's purpose and values, that is the why, affects the foundation when the leader leaves. So Simon wants us to understand that a good succession plan can keep our why alive. When you build a company, it does not mean that when you die, that company dies with you. No. You have to keep that legacy. It has to move. That why has to continue. The why has to be there because you founded it in purpose. That purpose came with a passion. So don't make it in such a way that once you are no longer there, it begins to split or split happens. No. So Simon makes us to understand that many organizations struggle to survive and thrive after the leaders depart because the leaders' values and vision are often personal and not institutionalized. Many people keep very personal, yes. Some people in many organizations, there are some people who don't like teaching others some very technical kind of things in the sense of maybe they can do it more than me. Maybe they can overpass me. Maybe they can overshadow me. No. Once you start doing that, you think that maybe, for example, what example can I use? For example, a manufacturing company. Some companies have inner rooms or powerhouses where only particular kind of people can enter there when it comes to production. You see that when you begin to hide that and you don't want to show or to share or to teach your close collaborators, you see that once you die or once you are gone, that company shuts down automatically because there's no person who can be able to handle that why, who can be able to handle that power room. So it dies down immediately. So Simon also makes us to understand that a good succession plan is not just about finding replacement, but also ensuring the organization's purpose continue to guide its decisions and actions. So when we train these people or when we hold the hand of somebody to fall into our why, we have to make sure that we place values in these people that will continue to guide the organization's actions and decisions. That is the why. So Simon is telling us that organizations should have a clear plan for succession, including identifying and developing future leaders. So in any organization or anywhere we find ourselves, where we put our why into practice, we have to identify and develop future leaders so that when we are not there, they can be able to fall into our why and continue. The more reason why we have to work or collaborate with people who have the same passion and the same vision as us, people who buy into our why. Simon goes further to tell us that when the why goes, what's all you have left? When the why goes, what is all you have left? He's just laying emphasis on the importance of purpose, that is our why, in driving success and inspiration. So we should not make it in such a way that when our why goes, the what is the only thing we have left. When the why, this still falls under the succession plan Simon is talking about. We have to make sure that when our why goes, our what, that is our tangible goods and services, should not only be the thing that will be there. Because if the why goes, the what will fail. Automatically, the what fails. If the why was not well, was not well put in place. So when the why goes, the what automatically gives way. So Simon is asking us to make sure that we lay emphasis on our why. So according to Simon, when an organization or individual loses sight of their why, they are left only with superficial aspects such as what they do. This still is the same thing I'm talking about. So he's laying emphasis on our why. Because our what and our how is dependent on our why. Our what and our how cannot succeed when our why is not succeeding. So these two depends on our why. They lean on our why. But in another sense, all of them have to collaborate. You should not focus so much on your how and your what and forget your why. So in conclusion, Simon Sinek is just making us to understand that knowing our why is very essential for a lasting success. Knowing our why is very essential. So when your why goes fuzzy, it becomes challenging to maintain growth, loyalty, and inspiration. So in a nutshell, Simon is just telling us that we should make sure that our why is in place for split not to happen. Because when our why is not in place, split happens. And then he encourages us that no matter how big our businesses, our organizations are, we should not drift away from our why. We should always come back to revisit our why. Because that why is the foundation. We should always come back to it. We should not follow our how and our what and forget our why. So Simon also makes us understand that we need to come out with very good succession plans so that when we are no longer there, the people that are overtaking or the people that are stepping into our why will not split. The company will not split. It will not go fuzzy. So that's what Simon makes us to understand. So I'll just take another practical example in our day-to-day life. In our country, for example, we see that in most financial organizations, there are some financial organizations which go through split. For example, banks in Cameroon might face a split when deciding whether to invest in digital banking or maintain traditional banking methods. This cost can cause many banks to split, to go through split. So Simon is telling us that we should always know our why. Even if these banks are investing in digital banking system or they are maintaining the traditional banking methods, they should always fall back as to why the bank was created in the first place. Even our educational institutions, you know, they may experience split because many of them want to adopt innovation and some still don't want to adopt innovation, and a split comes in. So we always have to go back to our why. What is the why of education? Is to make great leaders. So educational systems have to evolve as the world is evolving. So I am going to stop here for today, and I hope that maybe we have learned one or two things, and I welcome any other contribution. This is what I could gather for us this evening, and I'm still open to learn. And if there is any question, I am still open to questions. I welcome any other questions. Thank you so much for your kind attention. Thank you.
My goodness. You kept us spellbound. You did a marvelous job. My. Thank you so much, Auntie Carol. Wow, and wow again. Anyone who has not read that chapter, you just made it so easy for them. Anyone who not to read may, just revisit this video, watch the video, maybe don't have to read the chapter again. But for the simple love of knowledge, I'll encourage anyone who has not read to go back to the chapter. But to say the least, you did wonders to the chapter. And I heard every line of it because I took out time to read it. And I appreciate you greatly because it was quite a lengthy chapter. It couldn't
quite
have...
lengthy.
Yes.
Oh, lengthy.
Yes. It couldn't have gone into the hands of anyone who does not love reading or who is not committed to personal development and further learning. So thank you so much. You did such a marvelous job. I don't know where to start asking a question. I came with a few that you trashed. And then, but one thing that I drew from what you were saying, that Mom said to us that this book is intended to introduce us to purpose. And I'm thinking there are some of us in here who don't yet know their purpose or who are not yet clear as to what their purpose is. Here is one of the ways that Simon Sinek brings in here. When you see personal examples, when we see personal examples in the book, when he mentions names, when Sinek mentions names, company names, when he mentions names of people, take note, because that person could just be you. Sometimes I take out their name and put my own. In fact, as you see me sitting here, I already belong to the gathering of Titans. You know, it is leaving the book that makes you really experience change, or that gives you, that inspires you to want to do better for yourself. Now, one of the ways to know purpose is how this lady in here had her bridge, how she got to discovering her own purpose. She sought to do different. She was in a toxic work environment. And it came to her that she could do it differently. She could turn the tides by bringing in compassion, the aspect of compassion to debt recovery, which did not exist in the company where she worked. And that became her purpose for living. That became what she did on a daily, waking up. That became her why. Let us stick to the confines of the book. It became her why. So if we're here and we have not yet discovered purpose, it could just be in that thing that is going wrong in your environment. Your purpose could just be found in that thing that is going wrong in your home that you don't like. Your purpose could just be found in that child that does not do what you want. It could just be the opposite side of something you're going through. Purpose could just be the opposite of what you're going through. God inspires in so many thousands of ways. I am still praying, and it's my heart's cry that we do not miss to grasp what this book has for us. Secondly, and I'm going to hand the mic so that we bring in our contributions quickly. We keep them short and concise. Secondly, what I found was that passion needs structure to survive. It is not just, I underlined that, and I clear when you said it, Auntie Carol, that it is not just passion. It does not just suffice to have passion when we discover our why, but it needs a structure to survive. It needs rules. Now, when Mom will come to taking us, when our coach will come to taking us through that, we'll understand. One time when we're in leadership, I think she already delved a little into her own structure or into how she does things. So we need structure. We need a structure, company structure, personal life structure to be able to fuel passion. If we don't have it, passion and the why will just die, or the why will suffer from kwashiorkor somehow. It will suffer from something that you will struggle to cure. So one of the ways to get the why steady is to have a structure. One of the ways to get your purpose running is to have structure. Another thing that I took out of this book is succession. Our succession must be clear from the very beginning. Once we start running with our why, by the people we inspire, by the followers we make, or by the people that set out to follow us, according to or by how we have inspired them, we should already be able to tell at some point or early into our why, early enough into our why, we should be able to say who can carry the burden, of the company or of the organization in our absence, because we're not going to live forever. I was in one class, and one of the things that they constantly reminded us of was the fact that we will not live forever. So live where we were urged to live life as if the last day, as if every day was our last day. So you wake up with so much energy to pursue your why. Now, in the succession plan, I wrote that, how do we ensure smooth succession? How do we ensure that we transfer our why into other people in such a way that they run with it like us? And when I'll say what I wrote, I will run to the last page of this chapter to cite one person that really left me frustrated when I was closing the chapter. I wrote that in our succession plans, we must create regular moments of reflection and dialogue around our why. We must talk about our why as often as we can. We must share stories that bring the purpose or our why to life. We must constantly share those stories. I have a living example. We must use these as culture building tools. If we don't tell the story, we're not transmitting it. If we don't tell the truth around our why, we're not transmitting it. And so one of the living examples of someone who I see, someone I follow, and respectfully so, that I noticed that he set a good succession plan, is Bishop Oyedepo of Winners Chapel International. He has not just written it down. Now he has it written down, succession plan about succession, in a document that he wrote called The Mandate. If you are a leader at Winners Chapel International, you must have read The Mandate. There is no way, in fact, there's no way you go through leadership training without reading The Mandate. Recently, I learned that they are teaching the children at Sunday school about his life and about his why. So you hear a little child of 5, 6, will relate the story of Bishop Oyedepo's why to you. Clean, straight, understandable, relatable. It resonates. You just want to be the next winner. What am I saying in so many words, and I don't want to keep talking, is that our why must be clear to us. Number one, we must structure. We must have a structure around our passion or around our why. Our why could just be the opposite of what we're living or the opposite of what we see around us. And our succession plan must be clear enough for everyone to know, such that Bishop's succession plan is so clear, such that if they try to do otherwise at his demise, if someone else tries to do otherwise, the rest of the world will call the person to order. And then this succession thing, at the end of the chapter, we see the example of Walmart. And I would like to quickly read from the book or from the portion that I saw. It said, look after people, and people will look after you. This is Walmart, the founder of Walmart's vision. Look after the people and they'll look after you. Then I'll skip the rest of the lines. When we go to the last page of this chapter, we'll see it. I'll skip the rest of the lines and just rush to where, oh, sorry, I wasn't there. But that is his philosophy. That was his ideology when he created Walmart. But the CEO, the current CEO of Walmart, he is of the opinion that he wants to bring out the why of Walmart again. He is working hard to clear the sense of purpose of Walmart. But here's what he does. He said, and the writer says, and to do it, he started by paying himself an annual salary of $5.43 million per annum. Walmart, in his lifetime, earned $350,000. per annum. Is that really someone who wants to carry a why beyond generations? So these are things that set us thinking. I don't know if someone has, and someone should have a contribution, a question for Auntie Carol or another, because I'm saying this because I don't see Glory Ja in class. They were supposed to present together, but since I don't see her in class, we direct our questions to Auntie Caroline only.
Okay.
I have a question. May I ask?
Yes, Patience, go ahead.
In this chapter, there is a portion that mentions a dwelling on Norway. Has an owner saying that he makes sure his workers clock in and go home by 5, and that if you don't go home by 5, you will not get overtime, something of that nature, and that it has increased productivity but not turnover. So what is it? Can you please break it down for us? For me, I don't really understand what the statement meant. Even that even fits into the chapter.
Auntie Carol, you want to take that? Is she still here? Okay, I guess she got knocked out. All right. My understanding of that, Patience, and thank you for asking.
She's there. She's muted. Mommy,
All right.
can you unmute yourself?
All right, please.
Oh, okay. To my own understanding, I think this guy in question, right? He's somebody who has a passion for people. You know, his own, according to the text, he did not want a situation where us can overwork that will affect productivity. So to him, he has feelings for people. He has a passion for people. So he tries to fit himself in place of people. So much such that there are days that on Saturdays, which working day with these people. So that is somebody that, you know, he wants people to feel the why and to live in the why of that organization. You understand? He does not want people to be in such a way that they'll just come to work because they want to come. Mm-hmm. That's some sort of motivation to him. People will not just come because they want to come. People will not just come because they have a goal to reach. So that is why to him it is punishable when you don't, after 5, or is it 5:30, when you don't sign out, it is punishable. So those are some of the rules and the principles that he set in his organization to assure this one of the facts that it has to function smoothly. So, and that is part of passion, to make people to feel relaxed, to make people to enjoy what they do, to make people to live in the why, not to push somebody to work under pressure, or somebody to feel that I'm just going to work because I want to go. No, I just think that is just a way of him making these people to continuously live in the why of that company. It's some form of motivation. I don't know if I've answered your question, but that's how I see it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And just to add, Auntie Carol, just to add, he seeks a work life to him. His why is having a work-life balance. He does not want to steal people's family lives.
Yes, thank you. That's it.
Yes, he does not want to be the employer that steals people's family lives. So to him, there must be that balance. And so to him, the money does not matter. Patience. If you read him well, you understand that. He seeks that more than the money. He seeks to achieve that. His why. more than the money. And one of the things that make people to lose their why is fame. I realized reading today, not just today though, but my eyes were open to it more today, is fame and money. You grow a company so fast, you focus on the what and the how, and then you lose the why. It is growing so fast, it is flourishing. The figures are increasing. The stock market is booming. It is booming on the stock market. And then what? The why is dying. Every day the why is getting lean, like the lean cows in Joseph's story. No, we don't want to be like that. So
and as the split happens.
Yes, split happens. So patients, I don't know if all of this are helpful.
They are very helpful. Thank you.
I think that there is something to that patient's question about turnover. The turnover here is the number of people leaving the company. When you have to be getting, you have to be, when people get away, you have to be employing more. So when you are not interested in people, they soon realize and they disengage, and some look for other places and go, and you have to be employing people over and over again. We see some companies where people disengage and leave, and you realize that maybe in the course of 1 year, you have employed about 3 people for one position. That's the turnover. That comes as a result of people realizing that here, it's not me that is at the center, it is your money, and they quickly leave.
Yeah, thank you.
I missed it there, Auntie Glory. Not that I didn't hear.
Okay, I'm just talking about the other side of the question that patients asked about the turnover.
Mm-hmm.
The turnover aspect of it is that when the employees feel that it's you at the center, that their interest is not part of the story, they easily leave, and you have to be employing over and over. That's the turnover aspect of it.
All right. Okay.
Productivity versus turnover.
I get it.
Yes. And may I just continue to say that the issue of succession, selling let me say selling your why for it to continue, for it to be sustainable. I see split usually happens when we have the way we manage onboarding in companies, the way we manage newcomers. When you just employ, when people employ new staff, how do they do the onboarding? It can affect the sustainability. There are some companies that I know, when a staff comes in, the first whole week, and sometimes even more, the person is getting to know the why of the company, knowing the culture of the company, knowing things that concern the history, and all. They will put you down to read and discuss about the why for more than a week before you start doing your job. So these are some things that sometimes when we don't prepare the welcoming of new staff, the split starts there. People work, they don't know the why. They are only on the what. And so if at the end of the time, these people continue, and some of them with very key positions, and they have to be employing others, you realize that whether the split continues in succession to the point where you can one day find yourself with people in the company who do not know why that company exists.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And then you can also use the opportunity of challenges to be able to communicate to talk about the why. I always like to talk about challenges, because when challenges come, it opens us up to the point where we need to go to the drawing board. Why did this start in the first place? Why did it start? So even in our lives, in engagements that we have taken, projects that we are undertaking or have undertaken, we always have this opportunity when challenges come to answer this question: why did I start this? Why did I start? And it will always take us back to the why, to the reason for its existence. And then another thing is, when we want to maybe continue or enlarge our company, it must go along with the line of the why. The expansion must be happening connected to the why. And then if we make our why to become the standard for the choices that we make, if you have to be bringing this all the times, I've seen people who go on retreats. That's the company closes and they go on retreats to talk again about the why. When we are conscious about this, I really want to say that as time is going, I'm becoming more, it's like I have to go back then and read back this book again. read it again, because it is, as we are getting deeper, it is becoming more and more interesting. This issue of sustainability of our why. And I noted there, I just made a note there that it is better to have a split between workers and the company than a split between the why and the company. When a split happens between people who are distracting, people who come and don't want to align and they have to leave, good and fine. But when it happens between the company, when it happens between the organization, when it happens between a person and the why, it is dangerous. In fact, it is deadly. Just take for a moment that you as an individual, having your purpose, have to disconnect from your why. You become useless. That's all I had to share.
Auntie Glory, you're not going yet, all right? Please stand there. Just stay there. Repeat the point you made after expand with your why in mind. That's a summary of what you said. Something you said about expansion. You said we should expand with the why in mind, and then the.
Okay, it was the standard for choices.
Okay.
Yes, if you have to make choices in life, it must go in line with the why.
That's right.
When you make choices that are driven by something else apart from why, you are already sowing a seed of the split.
That's right.
If it is motivated by something that does not have anything to do with your why, that's a seed of split that you are sowing.
And people do that for different reasons. Yes. For fame, they do that for money, they do that for acceptance, they do that, yes, to squeeze their way.
You are very conscious that this thing that you are doing does not align with your values, but the pressure of the moment makes you to go ahead in your mind, but you go ahead and do because you want to satisfy the now. It's a seed of split.
Oh, thank you so much. Oops, that was quite some light. Thank you, Auntie Glory. Thank you. Someone else wants to share, please?
Okay, please, just to add to what Mom Glory is saying, as she was talking about sustainability, that is to say that it's the more reason why we always have to collaborate or recruit. For example, in organizations, we recruit people who have the same vision, people who key into our why. That is why, for example, we always have to go through the interview process. After we launch vacancies and the process of the interview, we make sure that we try as much as we can to get people or to collaborate with people who buy into our why. People who understand our why. people who have passion too for our why. So we always have to get in and go with people who are like-minded. That way, sustainability to a certain extent can be guaranteed because the people we work with understand our why. Thank you.
Awesome. The book keeps opening up. It keeps opening up. My goodness. Ladies are on fire tonight. Thank you all so much. Maybe we take one last contribution. If there's anybody. If not, there is so much that has been dished out. All right, ladies. Thank you all so much for coming today. Many fact, we accompanied by a basket of roses for today. Reason basket of roses because it was quite a lengthy chapter.